Creo que nos conocemos. Yo estuve en Colombia un tiempo.
¿Y en qué parte estuviste?
Ah, en toda Colombia.
Mi club queda a 2 horas de Bogotá, a 3 horas de Bogotá.
¿En qué ciudad? What city?
Garagoa,
Ga-
Boyacá.
in Boyacá. Okay, near Tunja.
Hello,
Okay, good.
Suchitra, you are here.
Oh, sorry.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Hello. How are you? Good evening,
So-
everyone.
Please start the meeting.
Good evening.
Please start the meeting.
Zoom for Chrome PWA has no chat, so please email anything important that comes up in the chat. Thank you, from New York.
I thought that we had the chat allowed.
Kisanji. Hello, Kisanji.
Hello.
Excuse me, Alberto. Can you put in translate in simultáneo?
Unfortunately, we don't have translators today,
Okay.
but
Alberto, can you please make me co-host?
Can you please share the link of the online YouTube channel?
I have already put the YouTube
In
in the chat. Please share it in your networks, please, and in your social networks, so that if we reach the 300, others have also the opportunity to be part of it. And also let's share the online form for questions and answers. Okay. I will put it again in the chat.
Since chat does not display on Zoom for Chrome PWA, anything that you want us to know, please put in the Q&A because that does display. Thank you.
I'm sorry, but why is not appearing the chat for everybody? I mean, over here I have, let's see, chat is.
The chat works in Scotland, I can tell you.
Okay, yeah, here is it working.
Yeah.
Where
no
it doesn't
problem with
work
chat.
is Zoom for Chrome PWA, which is the only Zoom that runs on Chromebook. Thank you.
Oh, I see. Okay. John, if you can, how can I communicate with you so that I'll send to you via WhatsApp the form?
Apna join karo.
So either email or put it in the Q&A because the Q&A does display.
Okay, let me see if the Q&A works. Well, Q&A is on. So if you just sent just a short Q, John, please check if you see the response with the form.
No response in Q&A. I don't have WhatsApp, either email or Q&A. Thank you.
Batu, please, can you make me a co-host again? I'm sorry, it's like I have some small challenge with my network, keeps going in and out.
You guys let me know when I should start the recording, okay?
All right, moderator.
Gift Autonomous College join करो. Gift Autonomous Engineering College bonus. कितना बड़ा सा एक इंटरनेट में वॉचमैन बड़े आराम से. कितना बड़ा सा एक इंटरनेट में वॉचमैन बड़े आराम से. मुझे ना बढ़ाई बार उनको देता. सुनिबिका कहारों को एक चोरा खा. हालांकि सब करी.
I think OGM iSeries TV is playing back. Say. He has to mute himself.
The co-host, please try to unmute yourselves to see if it works. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
we are going to start soon. When should we start? Another 1 minute?
When Austin says it's okay to start.
OGM, so when should we start? In 1 or 2 minutes?
Smita, we can begin in 2 minutes.
Yeah, we will start in 2 minutes. Because people will be coming and entering. Another 2-3 minutes, we can start. So we are now going to start this program. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and namaskar. This is Smita Sinha, the Assistant Governor, and I'm from the Rotary Club of Bhubaneswar, Flamingo, and District 3262 in India. I'm the moderator of the day. We have our convener, Charter President, Ambassador OGM Esseri, is the Rotary Club International Mega Meeting Platform. He's from Rotary E-Club, Greater Nigeria. Then we have our Zoom hosting. The main host is PP Alberto Palombo, who is a TRF cadre coordinator from RC Brasilia International District 4530 Brazil. And we have the Zoom co-host, PP Sadat R. Khan from RC Dhaka Central District 3281 and Bangladesh. So welcome you all to today's Rotary Club International Joint Online Mega Meeting platform. And this is today's program is the Thanksgiving Day in July. And we have our chief guest, John Hill, to join very soon. So now, before we begin, so I'm welcoming all of you to this mega meeting. Now I request Valentina Teran, the president of RC El Penon, District 4370, Venezuela, to call the meeting to order.
Thank you very much. I am Valentina Teran. My name is Valentina Teran. Good morning all, good evening, good afternoon. I am an ex-interactor, ex-rotaractor, and I'm the current president of the RC El Peñón in District 4370 in Venezuela. So today I'm very pleased and I'm very thankful for the opportunity to be in this mega meeting. And by now, I ask you please to close your microphones so we can start this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I request everyone to stand for the Rotary anthem, and I request the Zoom co-host PP Sadat R. Khan of RC Dhaka Central to play the Rotary anthem. PP Sadat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it my screen shared?
Yes, yes. And please rise, all of you. Thank you. Now I request the convener, Charter President Ozium Eseri of E-Club of Greater Nigeria, District 9125, is the convener of Rotary Club's International Mega Meeting Platform, to give his welcome address.
I would like to welcome everybody to this another yet exciting meeting of the Rotary Club's International Mega Meeting Platform. We thank you so much for being part of another exciting meeting with the RI President, the RI Secretary General, and also to be part of the Rotary Thanksgiving Day. Today is an history-making day for every one of us who has been part of the first Rotary Club's Thanksgiving Day. I really want to thank you for making out the time to actually attend this meeting. I'm so grateful and we're so excited to have you in this meeting. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, moderator.
Thank you, Charter President and the convener. And now actually President-elect of Rotary Club of Bhubaneswar Flamingo, Rotarian Manabendu Rath. He was supposed to give the purpose of this Thanksgiving meeting, but he's having some problem in the network issue. So he sent a message, which I'm going to read it out for all of you. All of us, all the Rotary Club members around the world, starting from RI president to the newest member of the club, have rendered exceptional and commendable services for our people, flora, fauna, and our earth, translating our imagination into fruitful action. And we do deserve to thank one another with a big hug for our accomplishment. This is the purpose of today's Thanksgiving meeting, to acknowledge, appreciate, and to celebrate one another's achievement, and also to welcome the new Rotary year with the new theme, to create hope in the world in 23-24. We imagined a beautiful world at the call of Rotary International President 22-23 Jennifer E. Jones, and march ahead to create hope in the world in 23-24 at the call of RIP Gordon McNally. Thank you. Now I request IPP Rotarian, Her Excellency, Dr. Josephine Ojimbo, who is the former Deputy General Secretary of the Commonwealth Secretariat, London, to give the thank you message to past, present, and future Rotary leaders. She's from RC Nairobi, Kenya, District 9212. Over to you, Dr. Josephine. Dr. Josephine.
I cannot find her.
She's not there?
There is a Zoom user.
Dr. Josephine, former Deputy Secretary General of the Commonwealth Secretariat, London.
Yeah, she sent me a message that she's having some network problem, that she's going to join later. Can we switch to the other?
So we can move on to the next of the agenda. So now I request Charter President Meghna Sharma of RC Pune Kharadi in District 3142, India, to recognize the convener, organizing host, co-host clubs, district of the mega meeting.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi, hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Megha Sharma, and I'm proud to serve as the Charter President of Rotary Club of Pune Kharadi, representing Pune and District 3131. Today we are here on a special day of Thanksgiving. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all of you for joining us in celebrating the true essence of Thanksgiving, friendship, solidarity within our group. These are host clubs and co-host clubs. RCEL Pennon, District 4370 from Venezuela. RC Bhubaneswar Flamingo, District 3262 from India. Of course, Rotary Club of Pune Kharadi from 3131. RC Nagong Road, 3 District 9212 Kenya, and District 9141 Nigeria. RC Bompai Kano 9125. RC Brasilia International, District 4530 from Brazil. RC Azaba Government House, District 9141. RC E Club of World Peace from USA, District 5330. And RC Nagong Road, District 9212 from Kenya. I express my deepest gratitude to each one of you for taking the time to be present, and together we stand a strong 100% commitment to our shared mission. Thank you, and let us continue with the remarkable journey ahead.
So moving on, now I request Rotarian Fred Yasaka of RC Gong Road, District 9212 Kenya, for the introduction of the District Governor Leonard Ithau of District 9212 Kenya.
Madam Moderator, if she's not around, can we call on the district governor?
She needs to be unmuted. She sent a message in the chat box. She needs to be unmuted.
He is unmuted. He's our co-host.
Not able to see her.
I'm talking about Leonard Ithau.
Fred
Yes,
Yasaka.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. If you could switch on my video, I can give my presentation.
Okay, then I now request DG Leonard Ithau to give the brief deliberation and give the remark on create hope in the Rotary friendship and collaboration project among clubs. He's from Rotary Club of Karen, District 9212 in Kenya.
Thank you very much. Greetings, everyone. My name is Leonard Ithau, District Governor for District 9212 that covers Kenya, Ethiopia, South Sudan, and Eritrea. We have close to 140 clubs and 4,000 members. I'd like to share with you today our interpretation of the international theme, Create Hope in the World. And I'll start by how we've interpreted the building of bridges. That is one of the main thrusts of the new theme. I'll share my content. Can I be permitted to do that?
Yes, yes.
You can share your screen, Leonard.
It's giving me a challenge to do that. One second. Tedious. 1 second, please. I'll get some help.
Share content. Why is it not allowing me to share the content?
Okay, it's not working. I think if we can go to the next speaker and then I prepare myself and come back so that we don't waste time.
Okay, we'll do that.
Tell them to share.
Yeah, I need to enable share. I'll do that as we do the next one. Thank you.
Okay, so we go to the next speaker. I request DGE Chinedu Kewani from District 9141, Nigeria, to give the welcome the Chief Speaker, Rotary International Secretary General and CEO, John Hiko.
Doesn't seem like it's enabled. Stop.
The screen is gone now.
You should screen that's frozen.
The host is not allowing participants.
No, the
Okay.
permissions. Yes.
Good evening. I've just been unmuted now. I've been struggling. My name is Chinedi Kigbani from DG District 9141. So I can go on with the welcome to the Secretary General. The Convener, Ambassador Ozua Mesiri, Rotary International Secretary General and Chief Executive Officer of Rotary Foundation, John Heko, my dear Rotary leaders and friends. I feel highly honored and privileged to welcome our Rotary International Secretary General and Chief Executive Officer to this meeting. Once again, we sympathize with you and the good people of Ukraine on the needless war your country was dragged into. Our thoughts and prayers remain with you, and we are proud to see all that Rotary is doing to assist. We appreciate you for making out time, in spite of your very busy schedule, to come and speak to us this Rotary Thanksgiving Day. Your talk, no doubt, will enrich us more as we respond to the Rotary International President's call to create hope in the world. Thanks to technology, we're able to relate with you one-on-one, as if we're under the same roof. The feeling alone is ecstatic. I'm sure I'm not the only one excited about this. Permit me, sir, to use this opportunity to say thank you for all, from the depth of my heart, for all the wonderful works you do for Rotary and humanity. You're a household name now in Rotary International. We draw a lot of inspiration, hope, and encouragement just by mere mention of your name. I say congratulations. On behalf of Rotary Club International Mega Meeting Platform, I welcome you to this online meeting. Make yourself comfortable, relax, and enjoy your stay with us. Thank you, sir. I'm done.
And CEO, Rotary International Secretary General and CEO, John Heko, to this platform. Namaste. We are very happy that you are here and you'll be addressing us. Welcome you, sir. Now I request DG Leonard Ithau, or we can postpone it afterwards, and we can go to the next agenda. I request PP Kasim Yakubu, District Secretary, District 9125 of RC Bompai, District 9125 Kano, to give a brief introduction of our Chief Speaker, RI Secretary General and CEO, John Heko.
Maybe I can quickly take that if it's not on the call right now. It's like I saw his message.
Sorry?
Can I take that brief introduction, please?
Yes.
Welcome, sir, our Rotary International Secretary General and CEO, John Heko. John Heko is a member of Rotary Club of Kyiv in Ukraine, the General Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of Rotary International and the Rotary Foundation. From 2014 to 2009, John Heko was the Vice President for Operations and Compact Development for Humanitarian Challenge Corporation, USA, government agency. He delivered foreign assistance to world poorest country at the MCC. He was the principal United States negotiation for foreign assistance agreement for 26 countries in Africa, Asia, South America, the Middle East, and the former Soviet Union. During his tenure, he completed the negotiation of assistance agreement totaling to about 6.3 billion to 18 countries for infrastructure, agriculture, water and sanitization, health and education projects. Prior to joining MCC, John Echo was an international partner with 5 law firms. He specializes in international cooperation, transaction in engaging market. He helped establish the firm Moscow office. He was the first partner of his office in Kyiv. While working in Ukraine in the 1990s, John assisted in working with groups that prepared the initial draft in the new Ukraine post-Soviet constitution, and a charter member, and is also a chartered member of the Rotary Club of Kyiv. John is a public policy scholar at the Woodrow Wilson International Center for Scholars, an adjusted professor of law at the Georgetown University, and a visiting scholar at the Carnegie Endowment for Institute International Peace. He has published papers and articles in leading US and international publications, and has spoken extensively on political and business issues. John Echo holds a law degree from the University of Harvard, a master's in modern history from Oxford University, where he studied as a Marshall Scholar, and a bachelor in government and Soviet studies from the Hilton College in New York. As the Secretary General, John Echo leads the diverse staff of 800 at the Rotary International Headquarters in Eversting and 7 international offices. He and his partner, Meghe, are major donors of the Rotary Foundation. They live in Eversting. Welcome once again, our Rotary International Secretary General and CEO. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for giving such a nice introduction of our John Hiko, Secretary General of Rotary International. Now over to you, sir. Please do address us. We are all eagerly waiting for that.
Well, thank you so much, Smita, and thank you for the kind introduction and for the invitation to be here with you. It's great to have a significant international audience from all over the world, and I think that's one of the beauties of the age we live in now, is that we are able to leverage and use technology to gather and meet in ways that we couldn't before. Also great to see that Trustee Geeta Manik is on the meeting with us. Geeta, great to see you, and all the best to you and fellow Rotarians in Kenya. What I thought I'd do is perhaps I have been allocated 15 minutes to share some remarks, and then we'll have about 15 minutes of question and answer, is to perhaps just give you a quick snapshot of where I see the organization today, and then some of the key challenges that we face, at least from my perspective, going forward. In terms of our current state of affairs, I think our organization, by and large, is in very good shape. We came out of the COVID crisis much better than perhaps we thought we would. In fact, we saw that we had a slight increase in worldwide membership as coming out of the COVID crisis. I think during COVID, we demonstrated as an organization that we were flexible. We were able to adapt to the new realities. In fact, as terrible as the pandemic was for the world, and for many of our Rotarians who suffered greatly from it, there was one silver lining in that we had been trying for a long time to encourage Rotarians to embrace technology, to use technology, and it was not an easy task. There's a lot of resistance. We're an organization that prides itself on many of our traditions. And lo and behold, with COVID, we had no choice as an organization, 1.4 million members, to switch to a new virtual environment. And we learned through that we are able to embrace technology, that we're able to use it to operate and do things in a different manner, sometimes more effective manner. And I think this gathering is a perfect example of our ability now to use technology to increase our reach, to increase our impact, and to bring us as Rotarians even closer together. So again, I think we came out of COVID strong. Rotary International, the Rotary Foundation continue to have high reserves. So if we were to have another pandemic or another world crisis, I think we're very, very well poised to deal with that. We also had tremendous financial support from Rotarians, both during COVID and after COVID, for some of the tragedies that have fallen on the world. As a result of COVID, we created a mechanism called the Disaster Response Fund, where Rotarians can contribute to that fund, and then districts can receive grants of up to $25,000 to deal with emergency response situations. We raised a great deal of money in that fund for COVID. Hundreds of districts participated and received COVID relief grants. And then when we had the floods in Pakistan, the war in Ukraine, and then the earthquake in Turkey and Syria, again, the disaster response by Rotarians was absolutely incredible. The Ukraine Fund, as an example, received over $16 million for Ukraine relief efforts. That's the sort of largest single response in such a short time that we've seen as an organization. More than 3 million has been raised for Turkey and Syria, and also considerable funds have been raised for Pakistan for the flooding. In fact, if we look at Ukraine, we know about $16 million has been spent through grants through the Rotary Foundation, but we have many clubs and districts working directly with Ukraine. And we conservatively now estimate that Rotary is a worldwide organization. Our clubs, our districts, our Rotary members have contributed over $70 million so far to the Ukraine relief efforts, which again has been an unprecedented response in this short of a time by Rotarians around the world. And so I would say that the state of our organization, as I speak to you today, continues to be strong. Our financial situation is strong, and we continue to make an impact, to do good works, to make a difference in our communities, in our regions, and around the world. Having said that, however, I do think that there are a number of challenges that we face going forward. And I'd like to just quickly go through some of them. And some of them may apply to the country or the region that you're from. Some may not. So what I'm giving you here is more of a global perspective, sitting in Evanston, looking at our organization worldwide. And number one, I would say, and that is, it is membership. You know, our membership has been flat at about 1.2 million Rotarians for the past 25 some years. And the reason we've been able to maintain membership at that level is because we've seen significant growth in Asia, parts of Africa, parts of Eastern Europe. However, we're seeing significant membership declines in the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK. Japan also faced some membership challenges, although they seem to have turned it around in Japan. In those countries, I would say that our membership situation is, I would say, critical. And it's fantastic that we're growing in many parts of the world, but we need to be growing Rotary everywhere, including in those countries that I mentioned. And so how do we address this issue? And again, and even in those countries where we see membership growth, it's also varies from club to club, from district to district, from region to region. So I do think some of what I'm going to be saying now is applicable to most Rotarians and most Rotary clubs around the world. And for me, the way to address this issue is to recognize that at the end of the day, as an organization, we are selling a product to the marketplace. We're not selling soap. We're not selling a car. We're not selling telephones. What we are selling, however, is an experience. We're selling the club experience, the experience you get when you join a Rotary club. And one pays for that experience with the time and with money. the dues that you pay to Rotary International, to your club, to your district, the cost of being a Rotarian. And what we're seeing that in many parts of the world, and in even in those areas where we do see good membership growth in certain clubs in certain districts, we're seeing that people are simply not buying our product, or when they buy it, they find that the product isn't what they thought it would be. Last year we had 150,000 people join Rotary worldwide. But we also had 150,000 people leave our organization. And so in some ways, in those parts that are struggling with membership, we have a dual problem of attracting new members, providing a product that people are interested in buying. And on the other hand, when we do attract people to our organization, we find that they wind up leaving because it wasn't what they thought it was going to be. And so how do we remedy this situation? And for me, it's quite simple. We need to rethink our product. Now, what can never change are our core values. Our core values, the four-way test, our focus on ethics, our focus on fellowship, our focus on doing good in the world. Those things can never change. Those are the bedrock foundational values of our organization. But how we organize our meetings, the experience we provide our Rotary members, that in my view isn't a value per se. It's simply the vehicle through which we deliver our values. And so we can either continue to try to sell the same product without changing. I think Einstein called that the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Or we can step back and rethink our product. And so I like to say that there is no Rotary police. I know we have a lot of traditions, and I know there is a tendency to really focus in certain parts of the world minutely on our rules and adherence to our rules. And that's fine. If a club is growing, if a club is thriving, if a club is doing great work and attracting great members, and it's using the traditional model, our traditional model that's worked for for many years very, very well, but in certain parts of the world is no longer working as well as it used to, carry on. There's no need to change. But if the traditional model isn't working, if a club is struggling, if a club is failing to attract good members, if the club is not having an impact in the community, then I think you need to step back and rethink the product that you're offering to the marketplace, and say, how can we change? How can we change the club experience in a way that makes it more attractive for new members, but also retains our current members? Our surveys show that if we can keep a member in a club for 3 years or more, they tend to stay for a long time. And so most members, when they leave, at least if you look at it globally, leave within the first three years. So we need to focus on member attraction, but at the same time, retaining our members, certainly at least during put the big focus on those first 3 years of membership. And so now we've adopted, globally at least, the concept of flexibility, allowing clubs the opportunity of having a great flexibility in structuring the types of experiences they're offering to their members, whether it be meeting frequency, whether it be the kinds of activities that they get involved in. There is now a green light to be very flexible in terms of the types of clubs and meeting experiences that we have around the world. Now, if a club is struggling and not doing well, rather than throwing good money after bad, and they're not willing to change and not willing to adapt, then let's grow Rotary through the creation of new clubs, new club models, new ways of meeting, new ways of doing things that may not fit the traditional model, but that are attractive to the people that we want to reach our organization. So the first challenge, in my view, is in certain parts of the world, we have significant membership challenges. And I think the way we address those membership challenges is through the concept of flexibility, through the concept of allowing existing clubs to modify how they operate, to make them more attractive to the market and to the individuals they want to attract. But at the same time, growing our organization through the creation of new clubs that perhaps don't fit the traditional model, but that are attractive to the kind of demographic or the people that we want to attract to our organization. The second is polio. As you're aware, that is our signature corporate initiative, which we began back in 1985, in fact, a little bit even earlier than that. This year is a particularly important year for our polio eradication efforts. This is a year where the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, in its 5-year game plan, this is the year where we are hoping and want to stop the transmission of the wild polio virus. As you're aware, we have 2 countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan, where the wild virus is still circulating, is an endemic. And so this year is absolutely critical because it's the year in which we want to stop the transmission of all wild polio virus. And so this year more than ever, it's absolutely critical that we continue to raise money for our polio eradication efforts. As you're aware, we have a agreement with the Gates Foundation, where for every dollar we raise and spend in a given year up to $50 million, we get a 2-to-1 match from the Gates Foundation. So if we raise 50 million this calendar year and spend it on polio, we will receive in January a check for a further 100 million. So my call to action to all of you in your respective clubs is please continue to support the polio eradication effort. Please continue to be generous because this is an absolutely critical year. We're on the cusp of eradicating this disease. We've been at it for more than 30 years. We can't stop. We can't stop. We can't stop now. The third challenge, in my view, is tied to, in some ways, the polio effort, and that is our next global project after we eradicate polio. And let me be clear, polio remains and is our #1 corporate initiative. We cannot lose sight of that, and we need to continue to do everything we can, fundraising, advocacy, vaccination, to ensure that we eradicate this terrible disease. But having said that, I also do believe that we need to begin a quiet conversation behind the scenes about what are we going to do after polio. Because it's not that we sort of eradicate polio on May 5th, 2025, and on May 6th, we say, oh, gee, what are we going to do now? We have a large organization. We have millions, 1.4 million Rotary members around the world. And I suspect, 1.4 million Rotary members, there's going to be 1.5 million points of view about what our next corporate project should be. And so there's a critical question we need to ask is, do we want to have one new signature project once we eradicate polio? I personally believe that we do. If we look at the polio eradication effort, it really put us on the map in certain circles. We were sitting at the table with UNICEF, CDC, the Gates Foundation, Gavi, and we're there at the table in the global health arena. It's increased our profile in a way that we never had in the course of our history. So I personally feel that there should be, but there are differing points of view. There are people that say, no, we should have one signature project, for example, in each of our 7 areas of focus. Others that, well, we should have signature projects per region. And so we can already see that this is going to be a complicated and difficult conversation, particularly to find something that the entire Rotary world can rally around. Now, I was asked a while ago, several years ago, to write a piece, an article for the Harvard Business Review on how it was that Rotary, for more than 30 years, has been able to stay singularly focused on polio eradication. And I said there were 3 elements to the polio effort that I think would need to be present also in any new global initiative we have after we eradicate polio. The first is that in 1985, when we launched the effort, polio was in 125 countries. It was something that almost every Rotarian could identify with. It was not a disease in some far off country. Second, the oral polio vaccine allowed every Rotarian who wanted to participate in the effort beyond writing a check. In other words, being a vaccinator, anyone could do it. I've been on several NIDs. It's a moving experience. And so it allowed hundreds of thousands of Rotarians to participate hands-on in polio eradication. And that created a cadre of dedicated, passionate Rotarians for polio eradication. And third, polio is a disease where you can clearly measure success and measure the end game. We either have polio circulating in the environment or we don't. It was easy. The end game was clear. And it was easy to say, yes, we have now eradicated polio and our job is done. And so I think these three elements would need to be present in any new global initiative we were to do after polio eradication. What that is our challenge. So we've now started behind the scenes a quiet process to begin thinking about how are we going to, once we eradicate polio, determine whether we're going to have a next global project. And if so, what would it be? And then finally, let me close with the final challenge as I see it. And there are many, of course, but this is sort of one that I'd like to highlight, and that is the growing regionalization in Rotary. You know, for a long time, we sort of operated on a one-size-fits-all model, and it was very, very successful. What we're seeing now, and I'm certainly seeing it as I travel the Rotary world over the last decade, is Rotary is evolving differently in different parts of the world. And that's not surprising. We're a huge global organization, but we have different realities, different needs, different perspectives in different parts of the world. Some parts of the world, the traditional model, the traditional club model, is very strong and revered. In other parts of the world, there's a desire to do things slightly differently, to change things. And again, as I mentioned, what is universal and can't change are our core values. And so we see Rotary evolving differently in different parts of the world. And how are we going to handle that challenge? We have, for example, now 2 pilots ongoing in Great Britain and Ireland and in Australia, in Zone 8. These are 2 pilots where they're going to try to modify the way they operate, their regional governance structure, the way in which clubs operate in a different way, to see if a different model is successful for them in terms of dealing with the significant membership challenges that they're facing. I just want to say these are 2 pilots that are only affecting those 2 regions, Great Britain and Ireland, and Zone 8, which is Australia, New Zealand, and the Pacific Islands. They do not in any way affect any other area or region of the Rotary world. If those pilots prove to be successful, or elements of those pilots prove to be successful, at that point, we would then go back to the Rotary world and say, hey, this seemed to really work. Is this something the rest of the Rotary world should consider or should adopt? But in the meantime, we are encouraging regions, we are encouraging districts, we are encouraging zones to take steps to do regionally appropriate new things that don't require going to the Council on Legislation. We needed to go to the Council on Legislation for these 2 existing pilots. The last point I'd like to leave you with is this concept of regionalization. Is this concept of flexibility? Is this concept of doing things differently? And is this concept of growing Rotary through the creation and establishment of new and innovative club models? Because as I said, our membership has been flat for 25 years. That's only been due to the fact that we've been seeing a disproportionately high increase in membership in certain parts of the world. And then we're seeing significant membership decreases in other parts of the world. So again, let me close by saying that I think the current state of our organization is strong. We weathered COVID extremely well. Fundraising at the Rotary Foundation is at record levels. The financial reserves of Rotary International and the Rotary Foundation are very strong. We're well poised to weather any further pandemic or another crisis if that were to hit the world. We're continuing to make impact on our communities. We're very close to eradicating polio, which will leave a legacy for as long as mankind exists. An incredible legacy. But we do have challenges. We have challenges of membership attraction in certain parts of the world. We have challenges of membership retention in other parts of the world. We do see growing regionalization, which I think is actually good. It's going to allow us to adapt to the various needs and to keep our organization strong. And finally, the big question is, among many, is what do we do after we eradicate polio? Do we want to have a global project? Do we not? And if we do, what would it look like? So again, thank you so much for having me. I want to thank each and every one of you for all that you do for our organization, for your passion as Rotarians, and for everything that you do. And please know that we here at the Secretariat, and I have again the privilege and honor of overseeing a professional staff of almost 800 in Evanston, our world headquarters, and in our 7 offices outside the United States. We're here to support you. Please do come visit us. We have Rotarians from all over the world that come. There's a great deal to do and see, and we look forward to welcoming you if you happen to be in the Chicago area. So thank you so much, and I'm more than happy to take some questions over the next 15 minutes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We really learned quite a lot of things. Now, thank you very much. We are honored that you are here and you could spare some time with us in these working hours of yours in Illinois. And now it is over to PP Alberto Palombo, TRF Cadre Coordinator from RC Brasilia International District 4530 Brazil, to take that question answer session.
Meu grande amigo John Yuko, how are you?
Oi, como vai? Tudo bom?
Tudo bem, meu caro. Well, thank you very much for being with us today. And just as a matter of sharing with you, we have been very patiently awaiting for your comments, for your intervention. Thank you very much for providing such a great leadership in Rotary, especially in these profound times of change that we have had, pandemics, wars, end of polio. I mean, if you look at this, it's kind of all these things that have happened in Rotary in the very few, let's say, past 10 years. The Rotarians today are living very challenging times. I don't know if you agree with that. I think we have a lot in our plate, as you will mention. And I was encumbered today to provide some moderation for questions and answer. We have 7 questions from the floor, questions and comments, and we have a few in our questions and answers chat. Let me start. There is a very interesting one here coming from Brazil, from Maria do Carmo Sinato, saying that the future challenges, professions are changing. Artificial intelligence is here for good, it seems like. How Rotary will adapt to all this and changes that are happening in the technological front and in the social front?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that is a challenge. For example, let's just take it at a very simple level. I can use the example of downtown clubs that meet at lunch in downtown areas in the city, where traditionally their membership has been people who've come into work in the center, go to their club meeting at lunch, and then go back to the office. Well, now what's happening is with hybrid working and everybody working virtually in many cases, people don't want to come in now from home into the center for club meetings. And many of those clubs are suffering from low attendance because people aren't coming into the city to work. And again, different variations of this problem happen in different parts of the world. That is a very, very simple example. But yes, artificial intelligence, technology, the way people are working, what young people in particular are looking for in terms of a club experience or joining an organization. What's the value proposition? Why would I join Rotary versus many organizations out there that do good in the community? These are all very, very serious questions that we have to answer as an organization. And again, a part of the answer for me comes to this concept of flexibility, of being open-minded, of realizing that the world is changing and realizing we need to change the product that we're offering to make it attractive to the people we want to attract, given today's realities, not the realities of 1905, not the realities of 1945, not even the realities of 2000. The world has changed, and we can either continue to beat our head against the wall and have the world change for us, which it won't do, or we can adapt and change to take into account the realities of the world. Let me give you just one example of a club model, for example, that does not fit the traditional model, but is very, very successful in being successful around the world. And these are these passport clubs. The traditional sort of first passport club, they only meet 6 times a year, every other month. And then every other month they have a social. So they have 12 meetings a year. That's it. But then a member of a passport club, in addition to attending these 12 meetings, has to do at least 40 hours of work with one or more clubs in the district on other club district projects, 40 hours a year. And that you can, if you wind up work, you can do 10 hours with one club and 4 hours with another, as long as it adds up to 40. That's why it's called a passport club. But if you find a club that you particularly like, you can join that club instead, or you can stay as a passport member. Those clubs have been very, very successful in many parts of the world, yet they don't fit the traditional model. They don't fit the traditional model, but they do meet our core values. They're making an impact in their community. They're bringing people together. They're making a difference, and they're attracting members. I give that as just a small example. So yes, that was a great question. We've got some significant challenges coming. And that's where, in my view, this concept of flexibility, of open-mindedness is going to be absolutely critical for our future.
Thank you very much, John. I have another one here from Anne Fresh. Okay, she is asking, she is making first a comment and then asking a question. Rotary approved a policy not to invest funds that harm the planet, fossil fuels, nuclear weapons, funds that harm diversity. President McInally has said that he thinks that we should be all moving towards money, moving our money towards earth-saving funds. How might Rotarians engage in this, in your opinion?
Well, I think the best way that Rotarians can engage in addressing some of these issues of climate change, of the environment, of refugees, is to continue to do the great work that we do. As you're aware, environment is one of our 7 areas of focus. But all 7, if we continue to focus on all 7, we're really going to be addressing many of these critical problems. So I think grassroots Rotarians, the best you can do, in my view, to help address these issues is to continue to do the great works that we do that address those problems. We are an incredible international platform, unmatched platform. We have leaders in Rotarians in almost every community in the world. I like to say there's probably not a politician in the world, other than in a few sort of countries such as North Korea, where the few politicians that don't have a Rotarian as a constituent. And so through our projects, through the works we do in our communities, and through the advocacy platform that we represent, I think we can make a difference. Now, one of the challenges is, how do we do things at scale and do things that impact? That is also critical. And so we've been really urging clubs and districts to pool together. That's the whole point of our our grant model through the Rotary Foundation, our global grants. Let's do projects that are larger, more scalable, more impactful, so that we can take our economies to scale and make an even greater difference in the world.
I have a very interesting question. It's pretty short, but it's very interesting and very challenging. It comes from Gesualdo Angelico, our governor from Italy, District 2090, about partnerships. How do we choose effective partnerships?
Right. Well, of course, the best example of partnership has been, as I've talked about, is polio, where it's been extraordinarily effective global partnership for the last 30 years. But partnerships is extremely important, both at the club level, at the regional level, district level, because the whole mantra now is 1 + 1 is 3. Even let's look at polio. We're able to do polio so well because we have a partnership with partners that each bring their specific skill set to the table. And those skill sets are compatible with each other. And so what we're urging Rotarians and clubs and districts to do is to partner both locally and regionally. Partner so that we can get with organizations that perhaps bring skills that we don't have to the table, so that our projects can be more impactful, more scalable, and we can continue to do more good in the world. On a global level, we do have a process by which we look at potential global partnerships. There's a process to vet those, to analyze those, and to see which ones are the most effective. But at the end of the day, we have 46,000 Rotary and Rotaract clubs around the world. We can't tell clubs what to do. most of the effective partnering, if we're really going to be having an impact at scale, given our platform, has to occur, in my view, at the regional, at the district, and the club level. That is what is really, that's really what's critical. And again, it's not just us, all organizations that want to make a difference are realizing you can't do it alone. And again, the goal here is to get 1 + 1 to equal 3.
Thank you, John. That is a very good answer, because here in Brazil, it's a big country. We have 31 districts. Sometimes we engage in national campaigns, and it's the Rotary mark is very strong. And sometimes we Rotarians, sometimes we forget about that. Okay, and then we have clubs that try to do things by themselves. When we can have a network of clubs that harness, a single objective, because society demands that, and we need to look also for partnerships that are meaningful, not only at the local level but also at the regional level, especially with all this new structure that we see coming in Rotary, and we need to we need to promote our mark the best possible way for doing the best possible service work. Well, Kishan Genka, he's a good friend. He's all the time challenging questions with grants and the Rotary Foundation. How about restarting matching cash contributions in global grants, since you say, Young Hyuko, he claims that you said that we have sufficient funds in the Rotary Foundation.
Well, what I meant was we have sufficient reserves to weather a future crisis, and we have had very strong fundraising. But that has been coupled with increasingly strong demand for global grants and for funding. And so that's a good problem to have. The Rotarians have embraced the global grant concept. They're applying for grants, and in great numbers. And so this the decision to decrease the matching grants on cash was a function of making sure that we had enough funds to be able to allow those grants that have been proposed to get funded at a slightly lesser level. But the idea was, let's try to fund at a slightly less level at least everybody who has applied for grants. So a lot of this is being driven by a good problem. That yes, we've got strong reserves to weather any future crisis, but those reserves are not used for global grants or district grants. But that's a good thing. We have good, strong reserves. We have had record fundraising, which is a good thing. But at the same time, we've had a record number of applications and demand for those funds, which is also a good thing. And so we're trying to square a lot of these circles and come up with a fair solution. And the idea was, let's make sure that all the grant proposals at least get something, rather than fully funding a few and then having others not being able to receive anything. But this is a process for which the trustees will be looking at over time. And if that situation were to change, I could see the trustees perhaps going back and reverting to the way we used to do things. But for now, this was an attempt to try to be as fair as we could to everybody who's applying for global grants.
However, now I will use my privilege of being part of the foundation's cadre. We see that there is a natural progression towards programs of a scale in order to have a better impact on the resources that we Rotarians contribute to the foundation. So what do you think? Are we going to have then, as a result, more proposals and better abilities by the foundation through partnerships, and harnessing a couple of the questions and your comments, to do more programs of a scale in the future?
Yeah, I mean, thanks, Alberto. That's a great point. We have launched now a programs of scale program, and the idea here was to It feeds somewhat into the concept of we want to have greater impact, we want to have more scalability, but also in terms of, creating potential new products that other organizations will want to invest in, like polio. That's really the one global product we have that other organizations are willing to invest in. The Gates gives us $100 million because we have a product that they want to invest in. And so the idea of programs to scale is to have a competition every year where Rotarians can apply for larger programs, millions of dollars, with other partners who are also contributing millions of dollars to really do something that's large, regional, with real high visibility and impact. One, to have more impact, but also two, to see perhaps this could serve as one of the regional programs once polio is eradicated, or it could serve as a model for our next global project. So we've now awarded several of these. One, for example, in Zambia to eradicate or to eliminate malaria in several large regions in the country, where we're partnering with with other organizations that are also contributing millions of dollars. So these are really exciting new programs, and I would certainly urge those of you who want to think big to work to apply for the program scale next year, because the money is significant, and you'll be able to, if you're fortunate to win, be able to make a huge impact in your region and in your community.
Okay, we know that we are already abusing of your time, and you are a pretty busy man there in Evanston. But I have two small questions, and I have a number of other questions that I will forward to you by email, and see if we can get that, because we have very interesting questions. We have about 15 questions here, John. But
I have about 7 more minutes. I can go.
Excellent.
Until
Excellent.
7 more minutes.
Excellent. Well, one question. These are two very, very direct to the point questions. I would like to know if Rotary International is open to the creation of separate district for e-clubs.
That's a good question. I haven't really thought about that, but I'm a big fan of e-clubs, because I do think e-clubs offer an additional, very effective avenue for people to join a Rotary. The e-clubs that I've met with, they're really interesting. They're diverse. They have people from all over the world. They're leveraging technology. And again, it's another avenue, another way for people to join our organization and to make a difference. Whether we organize e-clubs into separate districts or not, I really haven't thought about it. I guess the question would be, what is what's the benefit? What is it we're trying to achieve with it? If there's good reasons and it makes sense, then I think we should be willing to consider it. I'd be interested in getting from the person who asked the question just a list of what some of the intended benefits would be. That'd be really helpful, just so we can think about it. Thank you.
By the way,
good thought. Thank you.
That question was from Dehanjali Dar from Rotary eConnect in District 3191. And last but not least, I cannot leave my convener of the opportunity to ask a question, also in Osirio, our Ambassador of Peace. John, do you have hope for a world free of nuclear weapons, and how might Rotary help move towards that goal?
Sure, I think all of us as human beings harbor the hope that the world is free of nuclear weapons. In fact, harbor the hope that the world is free of all weapons of mass destruction, because obviously we all have a vested interest in making sure that our planet survives. Let me perhaps address that with the broader question, and that is we have embraced as an organization now the concept of what's called positive peace, and it's a concept that traditionally the way people kind of look at peace is, oh, how do we stop? You have a conflict going on? How do we stop it? How do we mediate it? How do we stop it? That's kind of the concept of negative peace. There's a new concept now that's being considered, and we've been actively pursuing. That's the concept of positive peace. And one of the challenges that we've had as an organization, if you ask most Rotarians, gee, what are we doing for peace building? they would say, well, I don't know, we kind of mediate some conflicts here. We have our Peace Fellows program, which is extremely successful. You know, the smallest number of global grants that we receive are in the peace and conflict area. And so there's kind of a sort of vague we generally do stuff for peace. Specifically, we have the Peace Scholars, but I'm not quite sure what it means. Now I think we have an ability to create an overarching framework for Rotary and our global peace efforts. And that's this concept of positive peace. There is a institute called the Institute of Economics and Peace, founded by Steve Kilway, who's a well-known Australian philanthropist. And he was speaking at a panel at our convention in Sao Paulo. And he was talking about what are the interventions that lead to peaceful societies. In other words, what are the things, the attributes of societies that are peaceful, not in conflict? And as I was listening to Steve speak, I realized those are exactly the kinds of things that we do in our 7 areas of focus. And I realized, now we have an overarching framework that we can use for peace in Rotary. Because Steve, what he's trying to do with his institute is to quantify, to measure precisely. I try to quantify what are the things that lead to peaceful societies. And they happen to be partially the things that we do in our 7 areas of focus. And so now, as a Rotarian, if you are interested in water and sanitation, you're also a peace builder, because those are the kinds of interventions that lead to peaceful societies. If you're literacy, and that's your passion, you're not only focusing on literacy, but you're also a peace builder. Yeah. If you're focused on maternal child health, you're solving that issue, but you're also creating the conditions for a peaceful society. So now I think we have an overarching framework that, in effect, when we're working in our 7 areas of focus, we are all peace builders. And so the broader 30,000-foot answer to the question which was asked is, how do we build peace writ large in the world? As Rotarians, given our strengths and our sweet spot and our resources, it's to continue to do projects of impact, of scale within our 7 areas of focus, because we know empirically that those are the kinds of interventions that lead to peaceful societies.
Well, John, I really appreciate your time and the opportunity given to me by my fellows here at the Mega Meeting platform to interact with you in taking these questions. And my commitment is, as a moderator, is to take as many questions as possible, time permitting. And if you don't mind, I will send you an email with the remaining of some of these questions that we found interesting, so that we can distribute back to those who ask. Because one of the things that we really appreciate about this technology is the ability to talk directly with our leaders and take direct from the scoop, the scoop directly from our leaders about the directions that we are taking our Rotary forward into the future. This platform has served to bring some of our president-elects, secretary general, leaders and I will take your counsel of also bringing global partners of Rotary. If you help us identifying some of those, because I think sometimes we are too Rotary-centric. Okay, and we need to open, as you say, to expand our horizons, to really take a Rotary to the next level and to have the impact and be, truly adapted to those changing times that we're living. Thank you very much for the opportunity. My intervention here ends here, and I leave you with our dear fellow Dr. Smith Senior. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And I see. Te vejo lá em Foz do Iguaçu.
Sí, nos vemos. Ciao. Hasta luego.
Now I request PDG Ijoma Okoro to give the vote of thanks to John Hiko.
Wow, wow, wow. What an awesome day for us. John, it's nice seeing you again. We shared some photos at the polio booth at Melbourne. It's always a pleasure to listen to you, John. You know, your passion about Rotary, I mean, it's really very, very palpable. Thank you for throwing so much light on my favorite foundation, the Rotary Foundation, especially our determination to end polio now and now. I appreciate all you do, and with MAGA, and you know how it feels to have a CEO of our awesome organization under the same roof. I mean, today's session just felt like being in a breakout session in Melbourne or everywhere. So thank you so much, John. I know what it must mean to you to create this time to be with us. But you've thrown so much light and on all our priorities and all that, especially our membership. And I'm sure that every Rotarian here has been enriched better than they were before they entered here. We look forward to seeing you again and again should the opportunity arise. This is a Thanksgiving, and we want to give you thanks for all you do for our organization and the world over. Our regards to the people of Ukraine, our love to all our friends and associates at Evanston, and please do send our regard to RI President Gordon and let him know that today you helped us to create hope in the world. Thank you, John, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you. So if DG Leonard Itau is here, he had some issues, but if he's here, then he can speak a little bit on creating hope in the Rotary Friendship and Collaboration Project.
I see him, but okay, now he is coming. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for unmuting me. Greetings, everyone. Thank you, John, for such a powerful discourse and presentation. We are energized and ready to go. My name is Leonard Ithau, District Governor for Rotary District 9212, covering Kenya, Ethiopia, South Sudan, and Eritrea. We are a district with close to 140 clubs, 4,000 members, and our strategy from this year is one of increased coherence, one of mobilizing the 4,000 members to do activities together, to do projects together so that we can deliver bigger and more powerful impacts to our communities. And we have begun that process of breaking down the bridges, breaking down the silos, which is a hallmark of create hope in the world, by having inter-club social and project activities. And I want to briefly go through some of them with you. Just last week, we did a multi-club tree planting activity that hosted over 16 clubs and over 80 Rotarians coming together to plant trees as part of a pilot that will be district-wide, in which we will digitally map trees, and so that we're able to enumerate the effect that we're going to have to increase the forest cover in Kenya and the other countries of our district. A lot of excitement, a lot of fun, Rotarians getting to know each other in different clubs, planning to do things together. And that is one of the strategic thrusts. Next, we're going for multi-project or multi-club projects that allows us to scale up. The week before that, we had a multi-club project visit to a very dry area of Kenya called Mwingi, where through a Rotary Foundation global grant worth $88,000, a club there has built 2 sand dams that's impacting over 8,000 lives. And we came together with these clubs. There were 19 clubs and 72 Rotarians coming to see how we can do multiple dams along that same river with multi-club global grants in order to significantly increase that impact to a very, very high level. We are also having a spin on the friendship exchange. Rather, we're having inter-region friendship exchanges between the different regions in our countries and the countries within our district so that we get to know each other, learn what we're doing, and try and do things together so that we have one Rotary, that we have one mission, and that we have a powerful presence that makes Rotary desirable, that makes the experience what members are willing to pay for. We've entered into strong partnerships around the peace arena recently with the Tekla Lerupe Peace Foundation. As you well know, Tekla Lerupe is a world-renowned marathon runner and strong on the peace and the environment. And so through that, we're able to jointly create more awareness around peace, have joint activities, including a marathon later in this year, and also have training in peace activities within the club. In our district, of the 7 areas of focus, peace is the least carried out area. And so we want to build this up to ensure that it plays its rightful role among the work that we do. Finally, around mental health, we are going to have joint multiple club medical camps with mental health as one of the areas in which patients can seek assistance. We see this as an exciting year, that will bring us together and really put Rotary in the map in our region. Thank you very, very much. Let us create hope in the world. Our district theme is We Are One. That solidifies that strategy. Thank you.
Governor's open space remarks and comments from immediate past district governors and district governor-elects if they want to say something.
Please use your raised hand in order to identify so we can open the mics.
Or we move on to the next of the agenda. I request Rotary Club Greater Nigeria to give the vote of thanks, OGM to give the vote of thanks to all the past and present RI district and club president and the fellow Rotarians.
Thank you so much, the moderator for this meeting, past district governors, RI representative, Rotary international leaders, district governors here present, district governors elect and district governor nominee, club president, fellow Rotarians and guests. Thank you so much for being part of this meeting. Really appreciate your time to be part of this meeting. And we've learned a lot in this meeting. I bring you goodwill and love and friendship from my club, from the Rotary Club of Greater Nigeria. I thank you once again. And I also thank the district governor from Kenya who have given us very excellent presentation on partnership, not just in their district, but also open to other Rotarians around the world. Thank you so much, my district governor, and thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I request President Ukala Gibson of Rotary Club of Asaba Government House, District 9141, to give the expression of gratitude to district and co-host clubs. President Ukala Gibson.
Please raise your hand so I can identify you, please. What's the name, Smitha?
Name is President Ukala Gibson. Ukala Gibson.
Can find him.
Okay, we can move on to the next one. This is the audio-visual presentation of District 9125 of the first and last district investiture in the District 9125 audio-visual presentation. District 9125, Nigeria. OGM Ashuri has raised hand.
Yeah, my Alberto, please, can you make me a co-host? I can't find that video right now. Maybe we can play it later. I think we can skip to the next agenda. We can call on Francis Jefferson to give a closing remark if we get there.
Okay. Whom do you say? Rotarian Arthur Canezis?
Francis Jefferson, I think she's on the call. She can give a closing remark.
Yeah. Okay. Please do the closer remark, please.
I have already on mute.
Have you identified?
Yes, and is muted, but
can you choose someone else to do that if she's not probably? Alberto, can you take the closing remark for us, please?
I will ask, well, since she started the meeting, why not finish it? Valentina, can you do the closing remarks, please?
Right.
Hi, yes, of course. Well, with this, we are done with this meeting. Thank you very much for everyone that was connected here and everyone that was watching us live on YouTube too. We keep doing Rotary, we keep living Rotary, and we keep making changes in our communities and our lives. Thank you very much.
We are welcoming President Gordon. Probably he has joined.
Welcome, President Gordon.
Welcome, President Gordon.
Gordon?
Has he joined?
I'm not seeing him.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that now myself too.
Okay, well, name Gordon. No.
Did he join? I think I saw.
Yeah, I saw him too, but
I saw President Gordon.
Yes.
¿Será que lo tenía ahí?
Maybe can we move to the thank you message?
Yes, please carry on with the thank you message.
I am the president of my club now. I became, you know, 3 years from July 1st. So I just became president.
Can we call on the president, Vijay Dash, to give the thank you message? I don't know if the charter president for Melody, do you have the statistics for the meeting?
Yes, she's going to give the attendance statistics and also she will adjourn the meeting.
All right, thank you.
Charter President Melody Choi of RC Gom, District 9212 Kenya, please.
Thank you so much, Rotarian Smitha, for this opportunity. I'd like to thank all Rotarians, family and friends for joining this Thanksgiving Fellowship. We had 245 members on board, and mine is just to thank you once more from the RI Mega Fellowship Committee for joining us on this call. We had several Rotarians from e-clubs, passport clubs, satellite clubs, several districts represented, several district officials represented, district governors, RI officials, and from Rotary Club of Nairobi Ngong Road. Mine is to thank you and God bless you. Thank you.
Please adjourn the meeting.
Thank you. I give you Rotary the world over. Thank you so much. Do have a lovely day, lovely evening, lovely morning.
So now the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. And we had a lovely time together in this mega meeting, this fellowship meeting of Thanksgiving. And thank you, everybody. All of us have done wonderful work in last year, and we hope to do still better work in 23-24. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my moderator.
This group is always doing innovation. Now we have Thanksgiving in July in Rotary, and that is pretty good. So that we don't confuse that with Thanksgiving in other parts of the world at certain times in November.
Yeah.
Which is very appropriate for the beginning of the Rotary year.
Yeah, so we're going to celebrate this every new beginning of every Rotary year. July 19th. Thank you so much, Alberto. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank
Muito
you.
obrigado a todos.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
No, voglio salutare tutti come sto salutando io.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Alberto. Thank you, Nagjyoti.
Great job, Smita. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nagyoti, how are you?
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you, Smitaji. Thank you so much.
Yeah. You can unmute everybody now. And bye-bye.
Everybody
Bye-bye.
can talk.
Yeah, take care. See you again, everyone.
Yeah.
The best face of Olsen appeared.
Hi.
The face of the future. Future Rotarian.
Did we see Gordon also for some time? I mean, he entered, right? President Gordon entered.
I don't know if it was President Gordon. It had the name President Gordon. I think he is around, but I don't know if it is President Gordon Makinasi. Okay.
Somebody is joining.
Even the spelling of President Gordon was something else.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have been drinking, sir.
So anyway, well,
many people are now entering.
Yes.
There's a person requesting entering.
I think sometimes with the problem with this time conversions, that's the reason.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Come on.
Yeah, just for the future, just for the future, Smita, I think we need to schedule the meetings and putting the UTC time. Okay, the UTC time, it doesn't change for anyone, and then everybody does its own conversion. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye. Bye.
I will close the meeting in 3.
You can, Alberto, you can help everybody to, you can speak on, how to prepare the global grant projects because you are dealing with that, right?
Yeah, that's one of the challenges I mentioned to John, is to give us,
Maybe you can take a session on that.
yeah, definitely, Kishan Genka and Shap,
Kishan
Elazar,
Yeah.
and we have, Marcelo Haik. We have a few trustees, some former trustees, as well as the cadre. I think the cadre could be very helpful on this. We have been trained not only to evaluate projects, to do assessments, but also to help Rotary clubs to prepare projects in accordance to the Rotary Foundation guidelines for global grants and programs of scale and what have you. Okay, and not only the global grants. I think, as you know, at least in this part of the world, about 60–70% of the Rotary projects do not use money from the Rotary Foundation, but we do have we need to have a certain baseline parameters to have good projects, because we have a Rotary mark to protect and to enhance, and that is our credibility on the line, actually. So it's not what we are, but what we do.
Maybe someday you take one session on that.
The day you want, I'm
Yeah,
a humble
sure.
servant here. The day that you want us to, I can invite a couple of my cadre fellows, and perhaps have an online seminar on on Rotary projects, not only global grants, but Rotary projects as such.
We're also looking at one of the biggest Rotary mega meeting, where we're going to have all the Rotary International, all the district international Rotary Foundation chair, and it's also going to be an opportunity for clubs to actually bring in their projects and probably see how they can get global grants.
Yeah,
global. So,
we could have an online project fair. I mean, we already have groups that are doing that very well. And this is something that needs some preparation, needs a certain discipline, because being online requires an additional preparation of putting presentations in a format that everybody can understand, because we are from all over the world. And the other thing is to have in a pitch format. In other words, very, very to the point and very objective. Otherwise, we can have a repetition of a lot of things that go.
So we can have that, right? So we can have that. So do you say we can have that? So
yeah. As a matter of fact, the cadre regions, we have 7 regional organizers for the cadre of the Rotary Foundation. As a matter of fact, the organizer for Latin America, Viviana, was in this meeting today. She was in attendance. We have the endeavor of having an audience of Rotary fellows that are interested in forwarding good projects, okay? And projects not only within the clubs, as we mentioned in some of the comments with John, but of projects that are multi-club in your district or in your country, and also with, of course, international clubs partners, which is a requirement of the global grants.
Okay, can we have a format of the way the document is going to be prepared, so that we can begin to see how we can work on it? Then secondly, when do you think this meeting can be? When do you think we can get some of your cadres can come to presentation, coupled with some of the Rotary Foundation chair, district chair?
I would say, see, July, August, and September are months that are used for institutes. So many leaders are involved with those at the moment. I think that the best time to do something like that is towards the end of the year, November or December, or January, February. Actually, the project fairs, the ones that I believe that have a better impact, are the ones that are celebrated in February, March, because they are looking forward for the following Rotary year. Okay. Sometimes governors already have their plan already laid out, and they already had attended their assemblies and gets and so forth. So the best time is before the gets, okay, and before the district assemblies. Usually that is February, March. As a suggestion. It's a suggestion.
You said February, March?
Yeah.
Okay, so not November?
November, if we wanted to do something more like in a training environment,
Yeah,
but
we
to
can
have
go
a
for
project
training.
fair.
In November, we can go for a training. And February, March.
When is the foundation month? I think it's November, right?
November.
Yes.
We can do
month is-
something in November. We can do something in November. We can ask Barry Rassin, to come and do some brief remarks. Okay, but very brief, because I know Barry is a 10-minute talk person. He doesn't, and probably 10 more minutes for questions, and the rest just hands-on project training for Rotary Foundation grants. That's something that could happen. If we have it, I mean, from here to November, we should be able to organize something of the sort.
Yeah, so like how many people do you think we should be looking at to invite for this project fair?
The more the merrier, but too big is a big problem meeting. I would say that it is better to do it either in a webinar format and then simultaneous rooms to address the specific interests, in the areas of focus. For instance, okay, we can have a general, say 1 hour on generals and 1 hour on simultaneous rooms for areas of focus. Oh, and we should do it twice in two different time zones, into different time frames, in order to allow, people from half of the world to be on one session and the other half of the world in the other. Because once you have a meeting that is more than 1 hour, it's very difficult to get someone out of work. Or we do it in a weekend.
Okay, what about if we have probably a pre-event, like preparing clubs and probably districts, like a first of all training to let them know this is what we want to do in November. Probably let's probably have your documents, your project that you want to march or you want to support, get ready, and all of that. Just a full training, probably. And in November we can begin to see how we can march, bring in people that want to march some of this project and all of that.
Yeah, the matchmaking is very important. Okay, in other words, having something already in your mind. We could do that in November. Suppose the following. We have first a session, an introductory session with the participation of the foundation chair. Okay, and a couple of talks about generalities about what is the direction the Rotary Foundation is recommending the clubs to go as far as projects of impact. Projects of impact is a very important concept. Okay, it's not any project. It's not buying ambulances. Ambulances are very important. Okay, but we do that with closed eyes. There is no need for training for buying an ambulance. Okay, but there is needs of training to enter into a partnership with an external organization. We need to have memorandums of understanding. What kind of due diligence? It's very important to do due diligence on our partners, because we have a credibility to keep. That's something that some people think that is just a given, but it's very, very important. Okay, and second, we need to have then the hands-on recommendations for specific areas of focus. I could talk about the environment because that is my charge right now, is my duty, is part of my terms of reference, if you will, of a technical coordinator of the cadre for environment. But the same is for peace, the same is for mother and child health, and so forth. And then we can have that introductory, then we have one that is bifocal areas, and then hands-on how to get this on the ground, even inviting some potential partners to see, well, yes, I want to work with Rotary because of, and then there's a pitch of 1 minute.
Is it possible for some of these clubs to get potential partners that would like to sponsor some of this project?
Yeah, as John said, we have the resources. See, the foundation is in the position right now not to approve every project, but to approve good projects that come their way. There is always a possibility, a very good possibility of your project to get funded if it follows, the guidelines, the community assessments, the sustainability issues, all these things that you often hear in your district foundation seminars. Thing is that sometimes our clubs, there is a change of leadership within the clubs, and that is very, very, very healthy. But for that reason is that the clubs are encouraged to have 2 or 3 year terms for the foundation person, because the first year is learning, the second year is okay, let's try, and the third year is when they do something significant, and that is a fact of life in Rotary or Rotary.
I'm sure one or two people ask questions to us. They're raising up their hands. Would like to ask?
Yeah, Arsene and Patrick. Well, this became another meeting, but and I have about 10 minutes. Fellows. Arsene, you can open your mic. You can open your mics if you already raised your hand.
All right, thank you so much. This is Benga Ofi from Rotary Club of Nigeria. So my question, thank you so much for the education and for the lecture and putting us, sharing the knowledge. One thing like you referenced, when my club is just heading towards the 3rd year now, and we plan to do something significant, so that at least being the first 2 years crawling and then the 3rd year trying to do something. You made mention of something. You said the CEO has the power to approve grants now, but it depends on how good the project is. Now as a meeting up with the criteria. So here is it. I may not be able to dive into it, but I'm ready to learn, because I'm the whole president for my club this year. Although I'm not in Nigeria, I'm in United States, but I hope to do something significant with the help of partners with our clubs, and if possible with grants to do something meaningful for the environment, say for those from less privileged children, like we've identified. So what are the criteria that makes a project to be good? To meet, what are the criteria that can really help us to meet those guidelines, so that we can put the proper documentations to place, and to make sure we are meeting everything that happens, so those are the things I really want to.
I see where your question is coming from. First of all this information is already available in the Rotary website. You enter with My Rotary, and there are 2 things that you can do in order to obtain the answers to those questions, as well as to get trained and enabled to put together a project. The number one is we have a series of trainings in our learning center for global grants. Okay, there is a series, I think, of 6 or 8 courses. And these are courses of 30 minutes. The maximum is 75 minutes, an hour and 15 minutes. We cadres, so we are required to take these courses. A little bit more than that. It's about 20 courses, but those 5 or 6 courses, it takes about 4 hours. Okay, you can do it in 2 sessions of 2 hours, and then you have what are the community assessments you need? Because see, there is a one big challenge that we have identified in the Rotary Foundation throughout the years, is that the Rotarians are very intelligent people. Okay, we are by default, we are leaders that come to serve into Rotary, leaders that come from the professions and the community that come to serve in Rotary. Okay, and many times we are kind of like inclined to say, hey, I have an idea. It's a very good idea, and I want to do a global grant based on that. There is a challenge with that, because number one is that the very first principle is that we need to hear what the community wants. So the buy-in in advance of a project needs to come from the community. So instead of having us the ideas of projects, let's have ideas on solutions to those challenges that are presented to us. Okay. Then once you have the second step, then you apply the criteria for putting together projects. Okay. The Rotary Action Groups are excellent resources. We have a wash rack for water. We have an S rack for environment. We have a rack set for community development, and so on. There's about 20 some racks, Rotarian action groups that are Rotarians have been devoted to the technical issues of the areas of focus of Rotary. Okay. They are open. You don't need to be a RAG member. If you want to become one, excellent, because that's the best way to learn about specific areas of focus or specific areas of interest within Rotary to do better projects. But once you do that, along with the Learning Center, you're equipped with the knowledge and you can impress, and I'm truly mean this, impress your district foundation chair in forwarding your projects. Then, your desk, your international person, or even us, you can call me. We have all the leadership in the foundation, in the cadre, is listed with their emails. You can write to us and we can pair you with potential partners, because sometimes we hear about projects that are very similar in India, in Bangladesh, in Kenya, in Brazil, in Colombia. So we can even put you together in order to exchange ideas, and you can even help each other in terms financially, and also in terms of having an international partner to submit your application for a global grant. It's a very sorry for the 5-minute crash course, but I think that is a way that we all need to think. We need to be very objective. The global grants, as John Hugo said, is something that we Rotarians have embraced. We had the matching grant process before, and it was very difficult for Rotary to assess the real impact of those projects. And that is the reason why we had to put together guidelines so that, we can measure our impact. It's something that is very, as you know, is something that is in our strategic plan. We need to measure in order to see how much Rotary is doing for the world. Arsene?
I think,
and with that, I will need to leave in about 3 minutes.
Yeah, now let's wind up.
What's your problem?
Or I can leave you, Smita, as a,
November training session on this.
yes. Okay, but if you want, I can just put you as a host, and then I can leave the meeting because.
No, I'm also leaving because it is quite late in India. So,
all right.
bye, good night.
Well, thank you very much, everybody.
Good night,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you, Osman.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
You pull
Thank
it. You pull it through. Huh?
Yes, thanks for being there for us too.
Okay, my friend.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.